Hey everybody! Welcome to Little Dreamers live Q&A answering your questions today. If you didn't get to submit a question, you're welcome to type it in the comments and I have time at the end. I'd be happy to answer it. We have quite a few questions, so I am excited to jump in. It's been kind of a crazy day here and I just needed a couch day. You guys know I usually do these videos sitting up and like a little more formal, but I just needed a couch day. So I hope you don't mind me just chilling on my couch to kind of decompress. Sometimes I don't know why I do these on Wednesdays because Wednesdays are one of my longest days, it feels like, and I do most of the day by myself because my husband gets home but then has to leave right away, so I'm doing, dinner and cleanup and bedtime, and I'm so tired by the end of the day on Wednesdays, but I'm so busy every other time that I just have to do it, and this is important to me to be able to help for free. Like, it really is important to me, so I can't take it away. So I'm going to bolster up my energy and we're gonna see what we can do. So I had time tonight. I went ahead and organized all my questions into age. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the younger aged questions. I've got a 12-week-old question, and then we get all the way down to 2.5-year-old, which we'll finish up the video with. So let's just jump right in because we got a few questions, and I just like to give a lot of information, and so I tend to say a lot, and hopefully that's okay with you guys. It's probably good because it means you're getting more information, but let's jump in and get started. Okay, so we're going to start with Lisa Hall. She says, my son is almost 12 weeks old. He goes to sleep no problem at night and is sleeping in a rock and play with a white noise machine. He sleeps 5 to 8 hour stretches and goes right back down after eating, which is great for that age. He is put down drowsy and goes back to sleep. Now, Lisa, I just want to jump in here. You're not doing anything wrong, just to kind of clarify and understand what's happening. He is going down drowsy, but he still has a sleep aid. The rock and play is a sleep aid because it's not a flat surface. Totally fine for this age. He needs having sleep aids until 4 months is 100% appropriate. And then I also feel obligated to just remind everyone that a rock and play has not been approved for sleep. I don't know that they advertise it for sleep, but just so you know, for safety reasons. I love the rock and plays. Okay. They sleep great, just like your baby's sleeping at night. So let's keep going. Okay, so, and the only reason I'm bringing up those sleep aids is because as your baby gets older, obviously he won't be sleeping in the rock and play forever, and that will have to be taken away for him to continue to sleep great. Okay, so during the day he will not nap more than 20 minutes unless I hold him. Okay, so again, holding him and soothing him at this age is okay for him to get those naps. I realize it's super inconvenient, but just know that I'm not super concerned at this age yet that he's only sleeping for 20 minutes or he's only sleeping longer than 20 minutes in your arms. So it doesn't mean he's going to be a bad sleeper. It doesn't mean naps are always going to be like this. I try to keep the room as dark as possible, but for some reason he wakes up. Yeah, and he just is. I don't know for sure either. I agree 20 minutes is a little short. Like, I want to see at least 30 minutes at this age. Anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes is normal at this age, but I'm not overly concerned. Super inconvenient, but I'm not overly concerned for his sleep yet. I used to love to dream swaddle too. It's great. Is it too much to expect him to take longer naps at this age? If so, when will his naps get longer? Okay, so naps, if you've got a short napper, as a newborn, naps tend to lengthen out between 5 and 6 months. So if you don't have naps lengthening out to about an hour, at least an hour, at 6 months, then we've got something I'm more concerned about, right? Okay, so there's that. You're more than welcome to hold him for naps right now. The only other thing that because I don't have a ton of information, Lisa, but the only other thing that I would suggest is he may be going to bed. He may be staying up too long in between his sleep cycles. So like when he wakes up in the morning, you might want to try getting him to sleep earlier than he's already going to sleep, so he could potentially sleep longer. I know that doesn't make any sense but it works. It works if he's staying up too late. Then putting him down a few minutes, 15 minutes earlier could make a difference. So you can try that. You're more than welcome to hold him right now. You can, if you want him to start sleeping better, he's 12 weeks. You could, I don't suggest doing any like sleep training, but you can test out taking away some of his aids and see if he does better. My bet is that he won't, because he's not sleeping great unless you're holding him. And so I would just hold out another 4 weeks until he's 16 weeks and then do some nap and night training and get him where he doesn't need any sleep aids, so he doesn't need you to hold him, and then he can sleep and take longer naps. They could still be shorter, right? But they should be longer than 20 minutes by then if he's sleep trained, and then they should lengthen out by 5 and 6 months. Okay, so Megan Bigler. I'm sorry if I ruin your names, you guys. I'm not good at words. You guys know this if you watch these, but I'm trying. And I have a hard name too, Marietta. And I get called Margarita. And I get called marijuana. Okay, maybe that one was a joke, but seriously. Margarita, Marietta, all sorts of things. Mariella. There's no L's in my name, but okay, so I do emphasize with you. You can make fun of me if you want, that's fine. Okay, Megan is asking all about her 4.5-month-old. She wants a good schedule. What does a good schedule look like for a 4.5-month-old? And then Nicole Hawk right below that is also having problems with a 4.5-month-old. So we'll kind of combine those two. So let me first start by talking about schedules for a 4.5-month-old. I don't recommend a set schedule until 5 months. So you're close, Megan. You're so close, okay? So what I'll do is outline what a 4-month schedule looks like and what a 5-month schedule looks like. At 4 months, you should be having a consistent wake time. I prefer 7 o'clock. So waking up at 7 o'clock, and then that first nap is probably going to fall right around 8:30. So that's pretty much what a 4.5-month-old schedule looks like. That's the parts that is predictable. Wake up time, that first nap. And then from there, it gets super unpredictable, right? They're sleeping anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes per nap. And then when they wake up from their nap, again, somewhat predictable how long they can stay awake, anywhere from an hour and a half. 2 hours is pushing it at 4.5 months. But that's going to really vary. And then bedtime's going to vary too, based off of naps and when they can go down. Bedtime can be as early as 6, somewhere between 6 to 8 p.m. And I even had a kid, I don't know if he's quite 4.5 months still, but my oldest, for probably like 2 to 4 months at least, he was going to bed at 5, which is completely appropriate at this age. They need a lot of sleep. So, and he just is he was a child that needed a lot of sleep, and so he put to bed at 5. So don't be afraid of an early bedtime. Now, a 5-month-old schedule is when you can put them on a 3-nap schedule, and it can be by the clock, as opposed to this 4-month-old schedule where you're saying, oh, you've been awake for an hour. Okay, now I can put you down, and naps are all over the place. So again, if you have a 7 a.m. wake up, then an 8:30 nap, and then your 3rd nap can start anywhere, between 11:30 and noon, and then your 3rd nap is going to start somewhere around 3:30, and then bedtime can be, anywhere from 6 to 8. Again, it totally depends on the child, how long their naps are, how much sleep they're getting, and that kind of stuff. Okay. Chloe, if you're watching, I see that you submitted a question, but just come type it in the comments here so I can read it. Otherwise, I won't get to it in my messenger. It will wait until next week. Okay. So Megan, hopefully that answers your questions of what the schedule looks like. So Nicole, let me read your question. She says, here's a rough sleep schedule. Now, her baby is 5.5 months, but adjusted, it's 4.5 months. You always want to go by the adjusted age when you're looking at anything sleep related. So even though her baby is 5.5 months old, we're looking at due date, and so she's 4.5 months, and so I'm going to talk as if her child is 4.5 months. Okay, so she says wake up is between 7 and 7:30, bedtime at 7:30, first nap at 9, every other nap varies. Okay, so we just talked about 4.5 months old, so Nicole, go back and listen to that. Oh my word, and I was supposed to keep track of times. I'm not keeping track of times, so let me write down at least Nicole's time that I'm starting, and then I'll have to go back and watch the other ones. Okay, so yeah, Nicole, go back and listen to Megan's. We'll go over the schedule, because that first nap I would move to 8:30, and I'd make that wake up time consistent at 7. Okay. Okay, so she says, my baby is the king of 30-minute naps, and I mean to the minute, it's creepy. We tried the Ferber method for a few weeks and saw improvement with night wakings. That's good. But I was too exhausted from thyroid issues to be consistent with all the night wakings. It's so hard, you guys. I know it's so hard. We introduced the pacifier back, and now for bedtime naps, I currently lay him down slightly drowsy with the Binky, and he usually falls asleep okay from there. Okay, so I'm going to mark my spot where I'm at. So, Nicole, just be careful. Some babies can really sleep great taking a Binky, and you never have to take it away. Other babies, it hinders their sleep, meaning at this age, at 4.5 months, they don't have the skills to be able to find their Binky and put it in their mouth. So sometimes it can cause them to wake up more frequently throughout the night because they're falling asleep with the Binky. He might sleep great right now, and then it might change where in a month or 2 months or something, then he starts sleeping less. I mean, think about it. When the 6-month object permanence developmental milestone comes in, he's going to remember that Binky, remember nursing, remember all of those things that they don't quite understand before that. So just word of warning, if you want to use it, it's your choice, but just be aware and educated of what's coming away and that you might have to take it away. It could hinder sleep, all that stuff. Okay, she says the only way I can get him to sleep longer than 30 minutes is to be right there when he starts to stir to rock him back to sleep, and then only works sometimes, or to nap with him. His Binky falls out pretty soon after he falls asleep, and that usually doesn't bother him. And it may not right now, but it might in the future, just FYI. Okay, especially when he's napping with me. Right. So I'd be super consistent. I don't know if he's napping with you a lot, or if that's like after you go in and you're there. I don't know, but I'd be super consistent in how he's sleeping, because if he gets to sleep with you sometimes, that's only going to make when he doesn't sleep with you worse. Like, it might be okay now, but it's not. The longer you do that, the worse that it's going to get. So I'd be super consistent in letting him sleep how you want him to take his naps all the time. Okay, and where am I? I didn't mark my spot. Okay, if I leave him in his crib once he wakes up early from a nap, he will just scream and scream. I tried leaving him in his crib for up to 30 minutes when we sleep trained with the Ferber method, and he never would fall back asleep. Any tips? Okay, so I don't know how long you did that for, but it can take like a good week to 2 weeks to lengthen out naps, leaving them in their crib. If it's hard to do 30 minutes, like do 15 at least every time if he's not taking those long naps. Okay, and I have more to say, but I'm going to finish reading your question first. Also, when he wakes up early from a nap, do I just continue to put him down when he starts showing tired signs? At 4.5 months, yes. Okay, but he should only be taking 4 naps. So then it's an early bedtime. Okay? Okay, yes. So I prefer gentle methods. Ferber was intense for me. Okay. Okay. Yes, okay. So you're saying she also says if I put him to bed early because he doesn't nap, he does the same thing and wakes up after 30 minutes and then wakes up earlier than usual in the morning. So here's what else I want to say about this. At that point, waking up after bedtime at 30 minutes, I don't know if he's waking up for the night and he thinks he's awake, or if he's just waking up and then you can get him back to sleep. But it's a sign that he's not quite going to bed early enough. So again, at this age, 5:30, if he's not taking naps in the day, it's totally put him to sleep at 5:30, right? So make sure it's early enough. And then, here's my nap trick. So this is always iffy. So if they don't respond to after a nap and he's still tired and it wasn't long enough and you're leaving him in his room, if you've done that for 2 weeks and they're not responding to that, the thing that you can try, and I don't always recommend this because I feel like it's a little risky, is to go into his room before the 30-minute mark when he's going to wake up, and assume he's in like a crib or pack and play or something. I like pack and plays are great at this age because you kind of just want to like rustle it, stir him so that he like wakes up enough to just and roll over, not even roll over, he can't roll over, but like turn his head and fall back asleep, and then he might transition to a new sleep cycle doing that. He's getting stuck in between his transitions of sleep cycles. That's what's happening at 30 minutes. So the Binky may be a factor in that. He's falling asleep with a Binky, and then it's 30 minutes, and then he's getting his Binky or not getting his Binky. And so the only way he's going to fall asleep is if you're right there, right? So that could be happening. And then 2, he could just be awake too long. And I mentioned this earlier with Megan, but I noticed that first nap is at 9. If he's waking up at 7, you're putting him down at 9 at 4.5 months. That's kind of a long stretch for first one in the morning. So try putting him down earlier. Okay. Janaea Barrett. I have Barretts in my family. I don't know if you know any Barretts that live up in the Roosevelt. Is that where they found Roosevelt? One cousins in the Boise, I want to say. Anyway, it's fun. Good family. I'm sure you're a good family too. Okay. My little guy is 20 weeks old. He's a great sleeper at night, usually waking once to eat. His naps, though, are becoming increasingly difficult. He wakes at 7. I soothe around 8:30, and that cycle repeats throughout the day. So you soothe around 8:30. I want you to soothe before 8:30. I want him asleep at 8:30. Okay, so try to do that. At 5 months, we want him asleep at 8:30. Okay. I keep his wake time less than 2 hours. Good. Right around 5 months, later in the day, they can be about 2 hours, but you definitely don't want it more than that. And like that first 1 hour and a half, okay? And I watch for his sleepy signs. So at 5 months, I actually want you to follow a by-the-clock nap schedule for him. So we're not following sleeping times. And so when I said, yeah, we want to keep it less than 2 hours, I'm thinking that's about the time that they stay awake, but we want to do it by the clock because he needs to get in a rhythm of when to sleep. That will help lengthen out his naps. So 7 a.m. wake up, 8:30 nap. Depending on how long that nap is, right? So like if he only takes an hour nap, we're going to put him down at 11:30. I want him to sleep at 11:30. But if he's taking a 2-hour nap, then do like 12, okay? And then that third nap will be around 3 or 3:30. So there's some, wiggle room there, but that first nap I want it to start at 8:30. Okay. I know he needs to learn to put himself to sleep now because he wakes shortly after me putting him down. With a toddler, I do not have time to keep soothing him. Plus, I want him to learn. With their daughter, we used extinction at night and was amazed at how quickly it worked. I'm sure crying out for naps is what I need to do for our son now too. Any tips before I get started? Yes, I have lots of tips. I couldn't find a post. Yeah, it's not a post on my blog, but this inspired me to write one, so I'm grateful for this question. So maybe when I get around to that. Okay, so these are my tips for sleep training. Start at night. Always start at night. The need to sleep is greater at night. So start at night. We're taking away any sleep aids. Okay, sleep aids include Binky. They include the rock and play. They include a swaddle. They include music. They include anything. You want your child to have their hands free range. Lay them in their crib or pack and play. I can talk. Pack and play on their back with nothing else, okay? They need to fall asleep unassisted. Unassisted by you, unassisted by everyone. You already know this, Janae. I'm just saying this for everyone. You already sleep trained your daughter. Start at night and then continue during the day. Put your child to bed. Lay them in their bed 15 minutes before you want them to fall asleep. So if you want your child to fall asleep at 8:30 that morning, you are laying them in bed and walking out of that room at 8:15. What else did you tell me? I'm sure crying it out for naps is what I need to do. Yes, but don't start with naps. Start with nighttime, then continue for naps. You said you did extinction. Okay, which is fine. So, and you say a really good soothing process. You don't need a long soothing routine for babies. You just need enough cues that they know what it's time to do. So I love, do all of your feedings outside of the bedroom. So none of that is confusing if you're feeding them before bed or anything like that. Do all of that in the common area of your house. And then go into their bedroom, change them into their pajamas, change their diaper, put a sleep sack on them. I love sleep sacks. Or whatever you want to use, zippity zips or whatever. They're so great because they tell your child, oh, we wear this when we sleep. When I put this on you, you go to sleep. And then from there, yeah, you can cuddle them and sing them a song. You can read them a book, but it's not like you're not getting them drowsy. You're not, because you're putting them to bed before you want them drowsy. Awake, alert, and happy when you lay them down. So that's what I would do. And if you're doing extinction, always wait 15 minutes. That's like my one rule. I'm probably not a good fit to work with you if you can't wait 15 minutes to go in to do your first check. After you do your first check, then then I don't care. Then we can work on whatever. So then you can do like, I think I have a schedule that I use that starts at like 5 minutes. So like if you're really uncomfortable with it and you want to soothe your baby at 5 minutes, then you can. But go as long as you can, because the more time that they have alone, the more that they can understand what's happening and can practice soothing. So if you can make it 15 minutes, then I would go 15 minutes and then wait and then go 15 minutes. My other suggestion is if you're doing extinction, set a timer and make sure that when you set that timer, like if you're doing 15 minutes, set your timer for 15 minutes and then you leave or whatever, listen, know what's going on. If your baby de-escalates their crying, if they go from screaming to crying or screaming to just fussy or fussy to cueing, start your timer over again. Any de-escalation is a sign that they're self-soothing. And so we don't want to interrupt that by going in there. Okay, we want 15 minutes of stress before we go in there. So reset your timer so that you're not disrupting them. Hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have other questions in the comments, Janaea. And let me know if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm sure I am. Okay, Jelaine Walker says, I need to transfer my baby from sleeping with me. Oh, I need to look at the time. Okay, 21:15, Janae. I'm doing awful at this. Okay. I need to transfer my baby from sleeping with me at night and napping in various places to a pack and play for all sleeping. How do I help my 7-month-old feel comfortable in a bed she's never slept in before? So if you have any comfort items that she's already used to, a blanket that you already sleep with, or something like that, you know, putting that in there obviously will help. Having it out where she can see it is going to be helpful. So if it's in the sleeping room that she's been sleeping in, just to know that it's part of the room and it's not a new scary place, that will be helpful. So if she's sleeping in your room, then I put the pack and play in your room. If you want to do a slow transition, it sounds like you do. That's where I would start. And then I would move the pack and play into her own room when you're ready to do that. Have her play in it. Like, I realize that beds are for sleeping in, but have her be in it for a little bit and show her that it's not scary and it's just fine and she can have fun in there. And then at some point you just have to make the transition of not letting her sleep here and putting her there to sleep. And so I don't have a ton of ways to make that smoother because I'm not going to like gradually inch her closer to the pack and play every nap. Like, you just have to make that transition at some point, but she can get more comfortable in the pack and play, if that makes sense. Okay, Kate Stringham says, baby is 10 months at the end of November, and with his naps the past couple of days, he struggles. Just this past month, I've started 2 naps, which have been going fine. He wakes up at 6-ish, and then naps have been 10 at 2, but then recently when I start to feed him, he starts to fall asleep, and I tickle him as, something that's like a typo, that while he's eating so he doesn't fall asleep. Then I change his diaper, seeing then lay him down, and he will either cry the full hour or talk and sit up. Okay, so what's happening is when you feed him, he's ready to go to sleep then. If he's falling asleep when you're feeding him, then his nap is too late. And if he's waking up at 6 and he's going down for a nap at 10, that's not enough time. I would say around 3 hours is more appropriate. So while that first nap can start anywhere between 9 and 10, because he's waking up at 6, I don't want it to start at 10. I want it to start at like 9 or 9:30. I would probably say 9. So I would start that first nap at 9, and then you can leave that second nap at 2, but it can start anywhere between 1:30 and 2:30. So depending on how long it is and how much sleep he needs and that kind of stuff, you could start at 1:30, you could start it at 2:30. Okay. Just reading the rest of her question to make sure. Okay. Got it. Okay. That was Kate. I didn't look at the time, Kate. But Katie, 24 minutes. We're starting you. Okay. Katie says, my son is 23 months. Katie Crosland. I'm almost 2, and I'm having a baby in 3 weeks, so I'm extra stressed about getting him to sleep through the night because I know I'll have my hands full with a newborn who will. And I also want to know, and my oldest was 23, 22 months. Okay, when my twins were born. So he goes down for naps usually at 12:30 and sleeps for 1 to 2 hours. Bedtime is 8 p.m. Okay, I'm just going to mark some of these so that I can find him. So bedtime is 8 p.m. Katie, you tell me what time he's waking up. 7:15 a.m. wake up. Okay. Okay, so 7:15. Okay, I'll finish reading your question. I just like to get those. Yeah, I'd like to get those. Okay, we have a bedtime routine of jammies, tea, stories, prayers. He takes a bottle and a binky to bed, so that may be part of the problem. At this age, he should be able to find a Binky just fine. So I'm not totally worried about taking that away. We can, but I don't love the bottle in bed. He drinks his bottle and then plugs his Binky in and falls asleep. I dropped my pen. He struggles going to sleep, but I could live with that until he figured out how to stay in bed and just close his eyes. Okay, I wonder, I don't know, like, do you think, I know why he's struggling to go to sleep, actually. Okay. The hardest part for me is that he doesn't stay asleep. He wakes up usually around 1 and then at 4, and all he wants is a bottle of milk. Try not to give it to him, but right now it's a matter of survival. Even if we give it to him, he's usually up for a good 30 minutes, not tired, wanting to play. He's in a twin bed, so it's extra hard to keep him in bed. Okay, why would he be waking up fully awake in the middle of the night, and what can we do to prevent it? Okay, so a couple things. He might be waking up fully at night because he's having that bottle and that Binky so close to bedtime that when he wakes up in the night, he doesn't have his comfort stuff, which is his bottle and his Binky. And so he has to wake up completely to get those things. And then he's awake and he's like, listen, I know there's nothing in a Binky. I want the bottle. I want the good stuff, right? So you could like move all of those things earlier. You could take the Binky away. I mean, I know this sounds really scary because Binkies are like our sanity, and we think if I take that away, nothing will make him sleep, right? Right. It's not right. It's wrong. It's scary for us, right? Because we are trusting this process, and we're trusting that if I take this away, he will be resilient and he will be able to figure it out, and he will actually soar past my highest expectations, right? But sometimes we are limiting our children in their sleep. So that's one thing that could be affecting it, is the bottle and the Binky. Another thing that could be happening is he is going to bed too late, and that's probably why it's hard for him to fall asleep. So he's not even 2 yet. His naps aren't consistently 2 hours. I would put him to bed at like 7. That's like way earlier than you're putting him to bed. And I know that's going to be kind of scary because you're thinking he's not falling asleep now. He's waking up. Why would I put him to bed earlier? Try it. Try moving bedtime like 15 to 20 minutes earlier and every 3 to 4 nights, and see how he does. See if those night wakings go away. You can decide which one's scarier for you, putting him to bed earlier. I would move the bottle, start giving the bottle in the common area of the home, and talk about how I always tell my kids when they go to bed and they're like, Mom, I'm hungry. And I'm like, the kitchen's closed. I'm sorry, I can't get any food. Like, have those conversations with him. He's 2, he can understand, like, oh, we can't eat. Like, eating's all done. So give him a bottle at the beginning of the night and explain to him what's happening. He won't get a bottle the rest of the night. And then think about that Binky taking it away, and then move his bedtime up a lot earlier. Okay. Amy Ripple says, oh, look, I looked at the time. Okay, so Amy says, I have a 2.5-year-old right now that only sleeps in his room half the night, then the rest in our bed with us. I have 2 little twin girls due in 2 weeks. Amy, congratulations. Twins are fun and a lot of work. Not sure how to handle their bedtime routine. Should I try to get the 2-year-old in bed for his first few hours and then get the twins to sleep, or should I get them to sleep and then fight with him? I'm so nervous for these twins. I hope you're far along. I hope they come close to their 40-week mark. I mean, I realize that's extreme for twins, but it will help their sleep overall. When your twins come, they'll probably be going to bed pretty late. So if you don't already have Amy, my newborn survival sleep guide, go over to my website, www.littledreamers.us. Right there on the home page, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a newborn survival sleep guide. You can get it. There's a whole section on multiples because I have them. So that will be helpful to know what to expect for the newborn sleep. They're going to be going to bed pretty late, like as late as like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And so no, don't wait to put your toddler to bed. Put your toddler to bed first initially, and gradually their bedtime will get earlier as they begin to understand the difference between night and day. So the biggest thing that's going to help your 2.5-year-old, I don't know what your 2.5-year-old's schedule looks like, so she might be not getting enough sleep. That's sometimes why they wake up at night. So there's that to think about. But she is going to continue to wake in the middle of the night and come to your bed until she no longer is being rewarded for waking up and coming to your room, right? So just you can do whatever you need to do before bedtime, you know, create a reward chart, just talk a lot about it, whatever you need to do to help her understand that she sleeps in her bed and mom sleeps in mom's bed. And that's how it is. And then when she wakes up at night, she comes into your room, make sure you're waking up, which can sometimes be tricky, but make sure you're waking up and then just walk her back to her room. Pretty boring, but just put her back to bed. You don't even want to say anything. If you need to say anything, I would just say the same thing that you've talked about. Mom sleeps in mom's bed, you sleep in your bed, and that's it. And just repeat that over and over again until, you know, she's going to go to sleep in her bed. I really warn against, sometimes I'll have families will say, oh, they're coming to my bed, but I only let them sleep with me like once a week or once every 2 weeks or something. But so I don't think it's that I think they'll just continue to wake. I don't think it's that they're sleeping with me. And I'm like, no, it's worth it to them. Like if they come into your room and they get to sleep with you once every 10 times they come in, it's worth it. They're going to wake up and they're going to come in. So you have to completely stop it. It can take 2, 3, it can take a while to end those night wakings. But if you want more information on our schedule to make sure that's in line, happy to help there. So let me know. Okay, that's all my questions. I see some comments, so don't mind me getting like super close really quick while I read it. Chloe, great. I'm glad you are here, Chloe. I was hoping that you would be able to leave your question here. How do I get my 2.5-year-old and 15-month-old to share a room and not wake each other up? We just moved and have our 15-month-old sharing a room with us right now, but I'd love our adult time back again. Okay, so this doesn't always work, and I don't know what their schedules look like, but if you can, I would try to put your oldest to bed first. And then once she's asleep, you can put your younger one to bed. The reason this helps is because usually the older ones are like more excited or whatever, so they're the ones who are delaying sleep, so you can just have them go to bed and then put your younger one to bed. They can be pretty quiet and like okay about just going to bed. So that's what I would recommend doing. That's my first shot. If that works for your situation, great. If it doesn't, let me know what else is going on and we can continue to work on that next week. But the other thing is don't be worried about, like if you put your 2.5-year-old to sleep, don't be worried about her waking up. When we fall asleep, we fall asleep into our deepest sleep. So she's not going to wake up when you go in and put your little one to bed. She might if it's like so loud or something. We get a noise machine and it should be okay, but that would be my first recommendation. Okay, and Megan, so basically after sleep training, no Binky, can we reintroduce it, or what do you think? So you can use a Binky during the day, but the definition of sleep training is no sleep aid, and so yes, when you sleep train, you take away that Binky as part of sleep training. I don't think it's super helpful to reintroduce it at any point because they don't really need it. It just becomes something that they could end up needing again and then could hurt their sleep. Now, some kids can do a Binky. My oldest had a Binky till he was like 3 or something, or older. I don't know. I didn't know a lot back then. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I sleep trained him, but I didn't. But he was a really good sleeper. Like, he had a Binky and he would never wake during the night. Like, he was fine. But my twins were awful. And it was the Binky, and I didn't realize that that's what I had to take away to help them sleep because my oldest slept just fine. So I wouldn't necessarily reintroduce it. I would just take it away. You can have it during the day still, but we just don't sleep with it. Does that help? Okay, Tessa, it's good to have you here. How much daytime sleep does a 14-month-old need? He's getting 11 hours of nighttime sleep. That's pretty good. So it just depends on the child. Pretty good for nighttime. I like nighttime to be anywhere between 11 and 12. At 14 months, he should be on a 2-nap schedule. Now, those naps can vary. I'd like each nap to be at least 1 hour, so that would be 2 hours of total daytime sleep. But it's not a problem to have, a 1-hour nap in the morning and a 2-hour nap in the afternoon. I don't want daytime sleep to be over 3.5 hours. So you're looking at anywhere between 2 to 3.5 hours at most. Okay, and then Kayla says, hey, I thought of this in regards to sleep training. Oh man, I thought of another question in regards to sleep training. Okay, currently our 14-week-old sleeps in the bassinet next to our bed. We have her crib in a shared room with Big Brother, but haven't moved her in there yet. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I have bassinet, your room, crib with Big Brother. Would you recommend starting sleep training in the bassinet or going to the crib? I don't want to interrupt Big Brother's sleep. She still wakes once a night for feeding too, so I wasn't planning on moving her until that was over, but sleep training needs to happen for this mama's sanity. She may not drop that feed until she sleeps trains, and sleep training in the same room as the parent is about 1 billion times harder. So as long as you have your pediatrician's approval to move her into her own room, that's what I would recommend doing. You can't sleep train until 16 weeks, so you've got a couple more weeks. Sounds like you already know that. And then I would just do something, make sure you have a noise machine in there. I would probably do like sleepover with your son in the living room or something fun, so that he doesn't have to be in the same room while she's sleep training. And depending on what method you use, like if you do crate out, it would literally be for the weekend. We're having a sleepover in the weekend with Big Brother, and then by the end of the weekend he can go back in, especially because it sounds like she's sleeping pretty good. So that's what I would do. You can sleep train with them in the same room. I would put Big Brother to bed first if you can, but yeah, there you go. Okay guys, I did an awful job keeping track of time. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video. Thanks so much for all your questions. I've got some fun, exciting things coming out, and so if you haven't liked my page yet, go like it so you can get these updates and things. I'm working on a sickness and sleep guide, and I've got a couple blog posts that I'm trying to put together. If anybody wants to write something for me, I'll let you, because I just don't have enough time to do all of this. So I have a lot of things that I want to do for you. It just comes down to time. So be patient with me, but they're coming out. I'm working hard on them. I appreciate your support. And if this has been helpful for you, please go leave a review on Facebook and let other parents know kind of where you were before you got some help and how it helped you and where you're at now, so that they can see how it could be helpful for them. Whether you purchased my packages or you've done the free Q&As, doesn't matter, but I would greatly appreciate a review if this has been helpful for you. So thanks so much for your support, and thank you for those who have left reviews like Tessa has. So I really appreciate that, and thanks so much, you guys, and I will see you here next week. So spread the love to all your friends, and let's get sleeping better. Bye-bye, guys.